Hello, everybody. Welcome to Soniclab's special presentation. We're here with Tony from Soundtoys. I think, Tony, the last time we spoke to you was was it at one of the shows, or did we do something on the effects rack? I can't remember whether it was remote or in person.
Oh, I think we actually did both. Yeah. We met, the first time you and I met, we were on camera for another stream we did. And then we met at NAMM, and we did a quick video on Superplay, which I'm also going to be talking about today within Effect Rack. So I'm super excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Exactly. No, you're more than welcome. I mean, it's kind of, we seem to do this around the same time every year because, as we know, there's lots of Black Friday sales, and there's undoubtedly going to be some great deals. In fact, you can get, it's not Superplay, it's
Little
free.
Play.
Little Plate, that's right. Little Plate, you're giving
away.
We're doing
a free giveaway right now.
Free giveaway at the moment. So all that good stuff to come. So I think, Tony, you're running a session in Ableton Live this time, right? So you've got
I am.
It looks like some MIDI, some live stuff, and is this mostly Effect Rack you're using to process this stuff, or what's going on?
Oh yeah, so as you see, just a quick production I put together using some 808 drum kit, some percussion, electric piano chords, and like a synth bass line, and everything is going through Effect Rack of some sort. Some are being modulated, some are being just saturated. So I'm going to go show what the current after sound is, and then we'll go back and turn things off and try to start from scratch again.
Oh, some nice epic reverbs going on there. Lots of wet.
Yeah, and that reverb is actually coming from the electric piano chords on a one of my favorite new presets that came out with Effect Rack 5.4, which is called Grand Crystal Plates. So I was talking about how Superplate is available as an add-on license to purchase for the Effect Rack now. So when you buy Superplate as an individual plugin, not only will you get Superplate, Little Plate as their standalone plugin, if you already own Effect Rack, it enables the Superplate plugin to also be licensed in Effect Rack. So what it does is basically we're opening new opportunities for Soundtoys future plugins to be introduced as standalone plugins, as well as being part of the Effect Rack for people to start adding their own chain. So we're seeing a preset that I love that utilizes Superplate on a classic 140 setting at a 16-second reverb, going into Crystallizer, as well as two Crystallizers, some Sie-Q, and we end out with more effect Superplate. So it's reverb, echo synthesizer, granular echo synthesizer, pitch shift, and everything. So let me show you what this E-piano sounds like before Effect Rack. Let me solo it real quick. So let's bypass it.
So it's quite pedestrian, if you don't mind me saying, but nice chords and a bit of tremolo.
So now let's put it on.
Nice. So you're sort of building your own complex effects algorithm there with all the kind of individual components from within. So just to rewind 1 second, I mean, for those perhaps who don't know, Effect Rack is a kind of a plugin host which hosts Soundtoys elements or aspects of the Soundtoys collection that you can build into a sort of single plugin, and has a number of kind of specific routing and automation and all kinds of other abilities, right? Is that about it?
It's got 14. Yeah, exactly. So it comes with 14 effects ready to use. There are, and the Superplate is now the 15th effect in Effect Rack. So when you buy Effect Rack, Superplate isn't licensed yet. So the way we're doing is you kind of put your money in for like 14 of that already comes with it, and if you like more, you can purchase more. And but all of the presets that include Superplate, when you buy Effect Rack, you can use them, and they'll just be able to get all of the great sounding reverb instantly. And then if you love Superplate, buy SuperPlay, and it'll activate the license to start tweaking all the presets. So it's new opportunities, kind of like, it's not subscription based or anything. You're buying the plugin. So it's like $299 retail for 14 pre-installed effects, and then you can go from there if you want to build more. And we also have great upgrade price, and I believe all the upgrades are being sold for 50% off during Black Friday. So that's another great
exactly. This is another reason why we do these videos around this time of year. That sounded great, actually. So, actually, what was the bass? Yeah. What's the bass doing in the? Because I noticed that's a bit of audio. What did you record to make that bass sound? It sounds quite tasty.
Yeah, let's take a listen. This bass sound was just straight up from a Juno X. I think a saw wave bass. Let me listen real quick. So yeah, just kind of a standard bass line. Yep. And what I did was, in Effect Rack, I added a lot of low end through Sie-Q, which is a gorgeous emulation of a console EQ, and it's going through FilterFreak, which is doing some kind of analog filter modulation dynamically to the signal, and that is going through Decapitator, which is our I would say world-renowned saturation
everybody
plugin.
knows. Everybody knows Decapitator. Yeah. It's the thing. Yeah. It's the thing that, I mean, isn't it one of the things that was one of the things that really put Soundtoys on the map, because it was such an organic saturation plugin that had a real kind of strong analog sound, I guess. Yeah.
And it modeled after 5 pretty significant models. So we've got the A settings, which is based off of the MPEX tube amp, I believe, and then E from the EMI console, N for Neve, and T and P are the triode and the pentode setting off of the Culture Vulture box. So you get quite a bit of different taste in terms of the harmonic saturation. So yeah, and then in conjunction with Radiator, which gives you a very nice warm tube Motown sound saturation, and it's got kind of minimal amount of knobs, so you don't have to worry about too much. There's a low, there's a high, there's an input, there's an output, just a few knobs to get you started. And I've always found that with GUI designs, the least amount of things you can put it in usually yields a better way of operating, because you're not worrying about too much. You're just, here, this does that, turn it this way. Let's take a listen to the bass track without the effect, and then I'll add it back in. So here's it bypassed. And
yeah, it's okay. Yeah, you can really hear the warmth of that low end boost. Yeah.
And it's interesting because with just an EQ and filtering, it's already having a lot of warmth. But what I think is really bringing it to the next level is the saturation I put after the filtering. So Decapitator and Radiator you're basically double saturating your bass, and it's bringing out a lot of that rich harmonics to round out the low end. So now it's going to show up really well on smaller speakers as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, so cool. And like Effect Rack, and now I feel like, maybe let's add in just a little bit chorus. So for chorusing, I have been loving using EchoBoy Jr. Because it comes with a few different presets. And this is something really cool about Effect Rack, is that not only does it come with Effect Rack presets, it also comes with individual presets for each module. So you'll be able to choose from pretty much like over, I'd say like 20, like I don't even know how many, maybe like 200 to 200 plus probably. Plenty. So let me just throw in maybe like a rich chorus setting. Let's see what that does. Cool. And you can tweak from there for a little bit, add more saturation.
That's nice. That adds a real sort of low. It sort of matches the low hum when you're adding that saturation that you get from the chorus as well. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, exactly. Let's put it back in the mix.
Yeah, it sits much more nicely with that 808 low end.
Yeah. So, and I love that sound. So, what's cool with all of this is
you don't even need to fade the track, do you? You could just stop it and it would gradually fade out on the reverb.
Yeah, and with this Crystallizer, so all of our plugins in Effect Rack can be used with these 4 macro controls, which is something I think really neat. So with Mix Knob, you can dial in all of the effects and blend them in using the Mix Knob macro. And also you can recycle things by feeding the audio back into the input using the recycle button. It can create a lot of cool stuff. And in Ableton, it's pretty easy to MIDI map all of these parameters to whatever controller you're using. So all of them are, you can just map them out onto a controller, throw on automation, and record in real time. Yeah. So I think of it as something very creative for producers that can get a great sounding track going. I mean, this took me maybe like 10 minutes or so to kind of get together, and it's really fun when you're using it. So for example, if I want to, let me turn on this piano sound here. Cool. So we got a piano sound here, and if I want to lay down something, and I was going over all of our presets, and here's something I created. A really cool way to just get, some reverb through Superplayed and then some echo in. And then if you're crazy about it, you can double up effect rack. So I'm going to have one effect rack go into another effect rack here. So this other effect rack is pulling up the preset Zimmer Shimmer, which is a new preset that gives you, it sounds exactly like the name. So here we go. Just wait for it to grow.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. And they can go on forever. Yeah. So, for example, let me just throw the track on and jam to it real quick.
You've stopped and the shimmer's just rocking on. It's like endless. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and and this is where Soundtoys, to me personally, and why I love using stuff, it's like having even just this reverb tail just going on. It really makes it super fun to think about. Okay, well now I can utilize volume automation. Now I can utilize maybe like sending that reverb tail to an actual audio record track to print it and then manipulate it
and then sampling it and exactly, particularly live where there's so many kind of automation and modulation things. I mean, you briefly said about how that some of those units within Effects Rack have very simple controls, but I seem to remember there's also some advanced things that you can access and flip sort of behind the scenes and see a bit more, have a little extra control, right?
Absolutely. So, for example, we have more tweakable stuff. Well, actually, let's talk about Superplay, for example. A lot of our plugins, let me just make sure I have sound here. So a lot of our plugins have a tweak menu. So in Superplay, for example, there's a tweak menu that will pop out a graphic EQ and a few controls for modulation, auto decay, and stereo control. So, for example, let me turn the echo off. So if I want more reverb on the high end, perhaps, and then take out a little bit. And auto decay here, and this is the new feature we were really loving, which dynamically shortens the decay time of the reverb tail. So the louder you play into it, the shorter the decay becomes, and you can change the threshold, the target, and the recovery control here. So if I want to, let's say, do a 32-second decay, but if I play louder,
right, so you don't end up with that kind of, if you're playing some jazzy chords that maybe are more challenging, you haven't got that mushy, horrible, both of them in the reverb at the same time. So, right.
Yeah, exactly. And for other stuff such as filtering, so let's check out some rhythmic patterns. So, for example, you see this is KB's groove. Funny fact, KB stands for Ken, our boss, so it's actually his groove. So I always thought this was kind of a little Easter egg because
Ken Boss groove. Right, nice.
Yeah, Ken Boss. Well, yes. So, but like I said, so if you go into tweak menu right here, you actually see that there is a rhythm editor for the filtering. So. And what's really cool is this can extend to multiple bars just by changing the bar number here, and then you can start kind of like an old school step editor style, and you can change the shape macro. Exactly, and then you can change all of the curves in an envelope right here if you like, and then you can turn them on. For example, I want these two on, so let's just try them. So yeah, and then you can change the linear mode, expansion mode, all of these different modes, as well as change what it's actually modulating, for example.
Right, so that's a whole bunch of extra parameters in there. Right.
Gotcha. Exactly, yeah, and it can modulate the level, and that's another trick that I actually really like. So let me show you something really cool. Let's go to the drums real quick. So let's listen to what I was doing with drums. So in the drum part, let me loop on. So let's turn all the effects off.
Mm-hmm.
So right here, just some saturation, go into PrimalTap. So this is something that I have recently been going back to a lot. PrimalTap is based off of that classic delay unit that you might find in a lot of big studios. And it sometimes is used more like a flanging saturation chorus tool rather than a delay. And in this case, I have the delay time on the left and the right side kind of at like sub 10, 15 milliseconds, which creates a nice chorusing effect on the left and right side. And just by feeding back into it, it was creating a lot of cool saturation. And this is what I love about Soundtoys plugins. And a lot of the units are built like the analog boxes that when you send a lot of signal through, they will just harmonically saturate through all of the transistors and all that. So listen to this just feedback knob. Like this is a really cool one knob aggressor.
Right.
Yeah, so and it's really cool. So now, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, yeah. So that, I mean, because a lot of plugins don't necessarily bother to emulate the input stage. They're just more concerned about what the actual processing does. So it's kind of nice to see that.
Right. It's very nice to see that, absolutely. And then, for example, another trick is now that I have a really cool saturation chorusing, let's add FilterFreak. But instead of using FilterFreak to cut signal off or filter things out, I'm going to turn the band all the way up and go to tweak and turn the frequency mod back to 0. Come on, 0 for me. And now I'm going to turn the level up a little bit. Turn the mod up. And blend it in. And now we have a transient shaper.
Right, so okay, it's bringing up the sustain. Yeah. Ah, okay. So Super Plate's adding the kind of short reverb in this
exactly.
instance, right?
Yes. And we can blend it more if we want. And this is on a gold foil 240 setting, which I love. It's a much denser, a darker sounding, smaller emulation of the EMT plate. And with Super Plate, you get a total of 5 plate reverbs built into one. So it's really cool. So let's talk about, like, for example, I can go down to tweak and change the EQ if I want. Get out some low end, add a little bit more shine. And we can play with threshold control on the auto decay, turn the target down. So now we're getting a little bit of ducking on the decay reverb time, or the reverb decay time.
Yeah, it adds a bit more life to it, doesn't it?
Yeah. And of course, on PrimalTap, we can continue changing the timing and get more separation if we want. Just a little bit wider. Feedback a little bit more. And my favorite, of course, if we want to punish the signal. So yeah,
nice.
Lots of ways to instantly create a unique sound taste character for anything that you throw it at.
And it's interesting, all of these flavors, this is all in Soundtoys. You're not processing anything else along the line, right? Okay,
just Soundtoys. Yeah. I think it's a really good set of tools for pretty much anybody who's just looking to create music, or, we have plenty of engineers that are working at the top of the field, and they keep telling us we can't work without Decapitator, we can't work without Little Alter Boy. So it's definitely got a little bit everything for everybody.
So it is going back to that. If you just wanted to get like Little Play or Decapitator, can you buy those separately and then sort of add that? If you then bought FilterFreak later, you could add those licenses in, or they'd be part of it anyway. Or is there some sort of discount if you've already got a couple of things? I suppose that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you just want to buy 1 or 2 plugins and try it out, we always have a trade-up upgrade to the Soundtoys 5 bundle, which will calculate how much value your plugins that you already own are, and then give you a prorated rate for upgrading into it. So, and all of our plugins kind of come in different tiers. So Little Play was a $99 value. Super Play retails for $149. The Decapitator retails, I believe, for $199. But a lot of these prices during Black Friday, which is coming up pretty soon. So for the bundle, for example, was $499 before the sale. During Black Friday, it will be $249 for 50% off. And all the upgrades are 50% off. FilterFreak $299 before the sale, $149 after the sale, or during the sale. Right,
during the sale, right? Yeah.
After the discount, yeah. So yeah, and then you can get, like I said, Little Play was we're giving it for free. Giving it away for free right now, and there will be a upgrade from Little Play to Super Play that will be targeted for anybody who got a free copy, and then you can try it out. If you like it, upgrade to the Super Play at a very good price.
Excellent. I'd just like to say, you get top marks for having a pair of NS10s. That's not something you see very often in the studio. I mean, they are old school. Do you use them much?
Yeah. It's actually what I prefer to use when I'm mixing, because it has just the most disgustingly beautiful curve. That's like in that way where I'm like, oh God, my mix sounds. This is not right. Like let's smooth this out. Let's do this. Let's clean it up. And then when I translate them onto my big focals, it's like And it's also great for like late night listening sessions at low volume. That's one of my favorite things.
And I remember, because I used to have NS10s, and the only way I could tell whether I was getting the bass drum right was turning it up so loud that you could see the foam start to crease. And then you knew that you had just enough lower.
Yeah.
But I did lose a lot.
I know hip hop engineers that mix an entire record off of just NS10s. I mean, they're tried and true. I don't think the NS10s are going away anytime soon. So just shout out to Yamaha.
Nice one. Well, so Tony, that's great. I mean, as we know, the Black Friday sale dates will come out. I know that Soundtoys are going to be promoting that via Sonicstate, so you'll be able to keep an eye out for that. So do watch out for those deals. Thank you so much for showing us everything. It's been great. I guess maybe we'll see you at NAMM, because I think we're going.
Absolutely,
so
we'll be there.
We'll see you there. Yeah, excellent.
Yeah, absolutely. And just one more thing, we do have 30-day free trial for all new users. So if you're just curious about all of our plugins, sign up at soundtoys.com and make sure you get a 30-day trial license for all of our plugins. And if you like it, the Black Friday sale is within 30 days. It's happening, so you can actually get the licenses on sale right there.
Good thought. Thanks very much, Tony.
Yeah, of course. But thank you so much for having me here, and I hope you have a wonderful day.